On this episode, we break down Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan.
And what do you need to know about a 3X camp?
All right, Brent Porcio, Stephen Godani here at the Top Velocity hashtag Pitch Tips Show, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Musically, Top Velocity hashtag Pitch Tips, hashtag Basal Tips. Ask your question, answer on the show. Show's going well now. We're trying to push to 250, then 300. We're just keep it going. It's been really popular. Thanks for sending all your great questions, guys. We really appreciate this. It's been a fun show. As far as we're concerned, we're going to keep going. We started a new one too called The Grind. It's kind of just a daily view of I wouldn't say daily, but it gives you more of an insight into what we do here at Top Velocity, how we train guys, a lot of the advancements that we have made, and the cutting edge approach that we use biomechanically, strength and conditioning wise, developing velocity. So if you're really intrigued about that, check it out. Also, it's called The Grind. Subscribe here, you'll see it. Sign up for the 30 days to 5 miles per hour on topvelocity.net if you want more of what we do in training and some basic drills, some basic principles. And then check out the camps. Come down for camp. But let's get started. What's our question today? Xavier Board asks, can you do an analysis of Nolan Ryan? Xavier, definitely. This was my idol growing up. I feel like I'm starting to age myself. I'm going to be 40 this year. So I grew up watching him. I mean, he was I think he came in as a rookie in 68 or 69. So this guy, is even before my time. But still, I got to see him at the end of his career when he was well in his 40s, throwing upper 90s, questionable of how he did it. Don't want to go into that, but still iconic figure, records that will never be touched, strikeout record. Never played for a good team, unfortunately for him. I don't think he ever won a Cy Young.
What? A Cy Young or
look it up.
Or a World Series?
Cy Young. Because it's based on...
I don't have my phone, so
tell me if I'm wrong, post it here. I don't believe Nolan Ryan ever won a Cy Young, which is crazy because it's based on wins.
Didn't he never like 11 no-hitters or something?
No.
Something crazy.
Was it 9? 9 no-hitters? I think it was 9. He has the record, right?
I don't know.
I believe so. I remember watching the one when he was in 1992, and that's one where they talked about how big of a lifter was. This is a big lifter, which inspired me to be a big lifter, which really helped rebuild my career, and which is just crazy today. Coaches still do not embrace the lifting approach, and that Nolan Ryan says it was very pivotal to his career if you watch his Hall of Fame speech. So, this is a guy that really inspired me through my career, inspired a lot of people, and he was a beast. I mean, this guy was an intimidator. I went to his Hall of Fame induction in Cooperstown. I actually sat out there and listened to his speech. George Brett was also inducted, Robin Yacht, and Cepeda. No, who's the guy, the old giant?
Orlando Cepeda?
Is that it? Yeah. Orlando Cepeda, yeah. And him as well. Unbelievable experience at the Hall of Fame, but getting to see those guys, specifically Nolan Ryan, it was just really impressive. So let's break them down here. If we look at when he was with the Angels, which I think was most of his career, right? Was with the Angels?
I thought it was Texas Rangers was most of his career.
No, that was the end of his career. I think he was first signed by the Mets and then traded to the Angels, I believe, and spent a lot of time there. And it really built his career. It's when he became who he was known for today. I think the Angels weren't really excited about him, and then all of a sudden he became Nolan Ryan. I think so. The Angels is really where he was made, and then played for many teams after that, I believe. So used a lot of momentum. These were momentum pitchers. He obviously followed a lot of Tom Seaver, even Koufax. They were momentum pitchers. They would come just aggressively falling out of those leg lifts, which you see here. But I think what made him so special, if you look at the movie Fastball, where it showed him is based on the highest fastball he threw and calculating it compared to what Chapman threw at 106, they believed his highest was 108, if you believe it. Now, what does he do? I think that Chapman doesn't do not much. I think I'd have to biomechanically measure it all so we could see the difference. That would be a cool thing to do. But what I do see something he do very well is the guy has no hip mobility problems at all. He's able to pick up crazy momentum, get an insane linear force vector, and then not much drive just because he has so much momentum, but definitely that burst of extension and internal rotation coming off the mound. Just enough to pick up his speeds. But he hits front foot here, crazy amounts of hip abduction or hip extension, crazy amounts of internal rotation with separation. And you know how long that stride is. That's probably an 85-inch stride. I mean, it's insanely long, insanely explosive, and he's separated. We still see his shoulders closed, then he goes and he stabilizes like crazy. He's already trying to extend the leg as he adducts the arm into external rotation. And then as he goes into pitch release, he holds the leg insanely firm, almost gets into full extension. So he just picked up tons of momentum, peaked it out of a leg drive and a lot of internal rotation. And what you see is you don't see any hip mobility issues. And I swear, every pitcher I look at, doesn't matter what level at, I see some mobility issue there that this guy didn't have. And I think that's what allowed him to throw so hard. He was very strong, he was very quick, and didn't have a lot of mobility issues. And when I think of Chapman, I think of the exact same thing. I would say Chapman's obviously a better athlete than Nolan. But I think what Nolan does really well is just carries a lot more momentum in his delivery than Chapman does. So that might be the difference between the two, but that's something that we need to measure. But no denying it, this is definitely one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He has the elite tools, mobility, speed, strength, power, hits the biomechanics beautifully. We've studied him for years. He really is the gold standard in his own little way, and Chapman is the gold standard in his own little way. But there's no denying it that this is one of the hardest throwers of all time. Anything you want to
add? Also just looking at his career as well, when he first came in, 6'1" or 6'2", I can't remember, but he's 170 pounds when he first came in, and then by the end of his career, he was like 215, 220. So coupled with the weightlifting and also adding mass, I think that's why he could maintain his velocity so well as he aged. He was training to maintain his athleticism with lifting weights and all of that, but he was also increasing his body mass. So what speed he was losing, he was making up for it in mass. So like looking at mass times acceleration equals force. Like even if he was losing acceleration, he was increasing mass, and he was still able to put a lot of force on the ball.
Which is big in the 3X programs is really what we promote with his nutritional supplement or nutritional program that's supplementing all this training. The nutritional piece is so big, and he's finding a lot of correlations to body mass and ball speed, right?
Yep, absolutely. And also I just wanted to say too, I know Fastball said it was 108, but I want to debate the Chapman. I think Chapman threw harder than Nolan Ryan. I'm sorry.
Well, what they're saying is Nolan was measured at a speed less than Chapman, but 10 feet farther from, or 10 feet up in front of the plate when Chapman.
Yeah, they're measuring it out of his hand.
Out of his hand, and his was 10 feet from him, from the plate. Okay. Well, the thing is, it can get wishy-washy there, because I've seen guys in Scouting Bureau footage. Scouting Bureau footage gives you speed out of the hand and speed over the plate. And some guys you'll see on average like a 6 to 7 mile an hour drop from out of the hand over the plate. But then I'll see guys at like a 3 mile an hour drop.
Yeah.
Where like it only went down 3 miles an hour. So how do we know that? In a way they kind of calculate that in. So it is hard to say.
But I would just say, just based off of first lever length, like just Chapman is just 6'5", extremely long levers. He had good mass at 215, and then athletically beat Billy Hamilton in a 60-yard dash in spring training. So he's one of the top athletes in baseball. And you're just putting all that together with his mobility, with his mechanics, and with the ball speed he has. I just don't see.
I'm with you.
Chapman
hands down
beating him.
Hands down, if we could put them together, I would pick Chapman to win.
Really? You said before it was Nolan Ryan.
No, I said growing up watching him.
Yeah,
I really believe it's very close.
Yeah, I think that's just because I've seen Chapman pitch in person too, and I wasn't old enough to see Nolan Ryan, so I might have appreciated it more if I.
No, I see them neck and neck, but I think over time, if they just kept throwing it both in their primes, I think Chapman would have put out probably more of those pitches.
Yeah.
Than Nolan.
More consistently.
And maybe gave Chapman more time, he'd have popped even higher. But I don't think Chapman, to tell you the truth, where Chapman's going to fail, he's not going to be as smart as Nolan Ryan at the end of his career.
I don't.
I think this guy's still going to come out at the end a lot. I mean, obviously, Chapman's a relief pitcher. He was a
but
star.
Chapman's lifting though too. Like I'm not.
He is, but he's just lifting to lift.
Yeah.
I don't think he's lifting to.
I think he's doing it more for like glory
looks
muscles.
and yeah. So the point is this is. But starters to relief pitchers, and I think that's another thing is you're looking at a guy who's throwing a lot more pitches than Chapman.
That's true.
So
good point.
You could go either way. You know, Chapman throws more pitches and he starts throwing even harder, or it's just impressive that when they recorded him, he had thrown so many pitches before that.
Yeah.
So who knows, man? You're right, but like I said, no denying that this guy's unbelievably talented, or one of the greats here. I forgot. There was another. We're talking about lifting, and you're right. This is the guy that these aging pitchers have to emulate. I mean, he proved it, and he talked about it a lot. And Tom House told this story I heard through someone, and it was a really cool story. Supposedly, when he threw that no-hitter, maybe it was the 92 no-hitter, 1992, they all went out to celebrate after the game, and because I think Tom House was the pitching coach then. And supposedly, Nolan Ryan knocked on Tom House's door at like 5 in the morning the next morning to start training again, and House was like, Nolan, you just threw a no-hitter. We were all night celebrating. He goes, well, how am I going to throw my next one? Like, I'm ready to go. Like, that's Nolan Ryan. And that's the legacy, and not many guys today have that mentality, and that's why this guy is iconic, and we'll never forget him. He'll always be pushing pitchers to throw harder. This guy right here is really, really the one that carries the torch when it comes to pitching velocity.
That's incredible.
All right, cool. Next question.
Baseball Over 13 asked, hi coaches, I want to know how much should we prepare before coming to camp?
Hey, good question. How much should you prepare before coming to the 3X Velocity camp? I would like to, you're not going to come here and throw a lot. We have such a comprehensive approach. There's so much to this, learning the mobility, speed, strength, power, biomechanics. So it's just one of the pieces of the puzzle. You're not going to be here like the ones where you're like doing jazzercise and then running throws and everybody's screaming and up and down, and you just keep doing that all day long. You're going to come in here and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to see how it all comes together. You're going to get measured out. There's a lot of time just studying you is really what we are. You're like a specimen that comes in here. And then, of course, there's that training time. And it's only really 2 afternoons of training. And one of them's broken up into lifting. So just be open-minded. Really best to review the material. When you register for camp, you immediately get the online course. Review the material, guys, because you'll come in here and it'll just be so overwhelming, so much information, you won't even know what questions to ask because you probably forget your name at that point. So review and write some questions down. So when you come in here, you got something to start with. I think that's where most guys fail. Conditioning wise, grab the beginner's guide and do a week of training before you come in. That'll help. But it doesn't have to be too crazy on it. We're not that camp. It's like I said, rah, 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 intent. You're going to throw 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour at the end of camp, and then go home and you're back to normal again. We're not that kind of camp. We're actually training you and showing you how to develop the high velocity pitcher, how to develop yourself. So in that 16 weeks and that off-season training, you get to the goals that you want to get to. Okay, so you don't have to think crazy here. Just be prepared and review the material. That's the best approach. Anything you want to add?
Physically, condition-wise, I don't think that it's going to be absolute kill you, like you're going to be sore, but more just mentally just be prepared, because you're really coming in to get your deficiencies pointed out to you, and that's hard for some people to hear. So just be prepared to have an open mind and be able to know that you're coming in to see what's holding you back from being one of these high velocity pitchers, and you're going to be shown the road essentially of what you need to improve to get there, and just mentally just be ready for accepting that road and wanting to push yourself to reach all the goals that you're going to need to reach to get there.
Be humbled. He's right. Be humbled. Come in here humbled, because I promise you, I will show you so many things. We will show you so many things you didn't know about yourself that you are failing at.
Yeah, like 99% of the guys are coming in here not because they're throwing 95. They're coming in here because they want to learn how to throw 95, and you're not throwing 95 for a reason, and it will humble you when you see what you're going to have to do to develop.
I've had guys cry in camp, unfortunately. Young kids. They cry because they learn things that they've been unaware of for so long. and it's really, really emotional when you're a lot of guys coming in here where you need something quick, and that's kind of tough to come in here at that point. But still, it's always better late than never. That old saying, right?
Yep.
Okay, good question. If you have a question, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Musically, at Top Velocity, hashtag pitch tips, hashtag baseball tips. Ask your question, we answer on the show. And come down 3X camps. We're almost done for the summer. Excited to work with you. We'll see you on the next episode.